Namaskar. Let's welcome Dr. Lavneesh Charna, who is working as Vice President Government Affairs for Asia Pacific Japan at SAP. He has more than 2 decades of experience of dealing with industry, academia, as well as practitioners. At present, Dr. Lavneesh Charna is responsible for public policy formulation and other aspects which need his thought leadership in driving SAP towards its pinnacle. He has also been rated as a very well commended faculty at various reputed academic institutes including IITs, IIMs and IIPA. Over to Dr. Charna.
Thank you so much, Dr. Charu, for having me here. Indeed, a pleasure to contribute whatever I can to this exercise that IIP has taken up.
Yes, Dr. Channa, it's always been pleasure to have you, and you have very fruitfully supported all endeavors of IIPA, specifically in digital transformation, e-governance, cybersecurity and related aspects. Today I would like to talk to you particularly about, as I said, industry and government's relationship to fructify the dream of India towards its decade journey, which our Honorable Prime Minister has recently announced. So with regard to that, Dr. Channa, what do you think is specific role of industry to ensure sustainable growth to achieve decade?
Okay, so you actually have started with a very important topic of sustainability, and actually it cuts across everything that we will be doing going forward. And it's not no longer a buzzword, Dr. Charu. If you read the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report, the report is called Climate Change, a Code Red for Humanity.
Yes.
A code which says that we are on the verge of catastrophe. So the kind of changes that we have been making to the climate, some of it could be irreversible in next 7 years. That's the level to which we have gone ahead. And as a result, and they also mentioned that 2020, for example, was the joint warmest year, and last 6 years have been the warmest ever. So that's how we are moving to. Now, what is the result of this? The result of this is sustainability today is no longer a buzzword. It's a strategic focus area for industry, for CEOs, for governments, and for society at large. Now, and it's not that we are talking because we want to talk about climate. The green line, as we call it, is now getting linked to the bottom line. So that's not that, and the reason it is on focus for every CEO in every company and the government decision makers, one, shareholders are now asking for it.
Okay.
Employees who now want to work for companies who have a sustainable focus,
Really?
who actually offer, and there is an ask from the next generation as to what are you doing there.
True.
Then the investors are now taking the reporting into companies before making investments. So it's not that it's a buzzword which is only to be spoken about. It's a buzzword which everybody should follow now for survival as well as for growth.
Okay.
Now coming to your question on the
Industry.
role of technology and industry. So for now technology per se has a dual role, and I always say one, what I call it as green IT. Now technology per se to be green. Second, IT for green.
Okay.
So the IT companies have a dual role,
Okay.
of being exemplars. That is, we doing ourselves the things that we want to,
Okay.
and we also enabling through our
Technology.
technology solutions companies to actually achieve their targets. Now, what do I mean? When I'm talking about sustainability, three things I am talking about. One is this whole concept of zero emissions.
Okay.
Now, where does technology come in? That's where I'm coming to this. Now, what do I mean by zero emissions? When I say zero emissions, I will not be able to actually improve what I can't measure.
Okay.
Now, what does it mean? It means companies, governments, they need to have the info on the carbon footprints that they are generating.
True.
Now, where do they get it from?
True.
They get it from the process measurement, they get it from the product life cycle, which is embedded in the digital systems.
Okay.
Now, if the companies somehow have a way to measure using tools as to what is the carbon footprint that is coming out as a result of these processes, and that is the role that technology plays in zero emissions.
Okay.
Let's come to the second part, which is zero waste.
Yeah, right.
Now we have lived so far very well with a linear economy,
Right.
and we call it as linear economy has been you take, you make, and then you put it in the waste,
True.
right? So take, make, waste was the
Yes.
linear economy that we are now moving to circular economy. Now circular economy means what? You reuse, you reshape, you re-engineer, you remanufacture,
Okay.
you know, and that is where the whole element of data actually comes in onto that. Now that's the classical role of technology, and mind you, this circular economy that again we are talking about is not environmental concept. It's an economic. It has economic
Implication.
repercussions also
Okay.
in terms of improving profitability, because I'm
Okay.
reusing, doing,
Okay.
and that's where the technology comes in.
Okay.
And the third role that technology plays is zero inequality.
Okay.
So in terms of getting a diverse and inclusive workforce
Okay.
using technology,
Right.
when I'm able to raise my voice, when I'm able to collaborate, when I'm able to create systems which will ensure inclusivity. So zero emissions, zero waste, and zero inequality. Once we start achieving that, and to do so, this is not a one stakeholder approach. Obviously, there is a partnership, and in fact, if you see, New Zealand as a government have already announced that government they'll be carbon neutral by
Wow.
2025. So
Okay.
they will be. So they have already
Okay.
announced that. So that's where the role of technology per se comes in, and sustainability to achieving that. It's actually leading to triggers the process of multiple downstream improvement channels.
Okay.
So that's where it is becoming a focus area, and governments have their own role. Industry converts that into business ambitions, right? So government will actually, if you see government, their role would be the whole ecosystem creation, incentivization,
True.
investment decisions as to where do I put. That leads to business ambition,
Wow.
and then converting that into reality
profitability.
is where technology supports them onto that. So this is the whole cycle that all three of us can do together.
That's awesome. You just mentioned about zero emission, zero waste, and zero inequality. Is any industry having any green calculator to do so?
As for example, as SAP, we are now helping our customers through our carbon footprint management solutions.
Okay.
So once you are doing things,
Okay.
you can actually assess what is happening. That takes you to the green journey. So every aspect of the technology inclusion that we were talking about has now got this green component added to that.
So
in
is it a
terms-
dashboard approach?
Yes, so there is a dashboarding, there is
Okay.
an analytics on
Okay,
that,
okay.
and there is you can actually make useful insights as to what can be done and simulations to actually improve things.
So that's only typically to your organization, or is it being holistically, it's an integrated dashboard for all industry to use to ensure zero waste,
So
zero
the
emission?
applicability is across,
Okay.
and if you are aware, I'll give you an example. Again, India, we have this beautiful concept of this competitive federalism.
True.
Our SDG index,
Yeah.
which Niti Aayog is actually measuring. Now, that's a fantastic way, and it has gone right up to the district level now. That's a fantastic way of actually making people aware about, the states aware about, and the districts aware about this. These are the KPIs that they have to meet. Now, come to the next stage. If a district is lacking in one part,
True.
say for example, I am a district which has a maximum non-complying industrial units in my. That's why my score is slightly lower. Then there is a huge potential for applying technology by industry so that the compliance improves and correspondingly the SDG index performance improves. That's the classical way, and we have taken already this initiative of the SDG index. It's only a matter of now taking it to the downstream implementation level, which obviously industry has a larger role to play. So that's the whole gamut of partnership that actually is working
for sustainability and otherwise towards SDG as well.
towards SDGs also.
So that's a wonderful cue for me to ask you the next question, that how do you, in Digital India has already completed 6 years and I would say quite reassuringly. So how would you look at industry and government partnering in post-pandemic period to ensure that Digital India and e-governance and digital transformation of public service delivery ecosystem and related aspects of public remains on the same trajectory of upward growth? So what do you say
Fantastic.
on that?
So I mean, I'm a bit optimistic on Digital India's performance because to me, no other country has been able to drive such complex, such large initiatives as we have been.
I agree.
1.3 billion Aadhaars, the DigiLockers, the MyGov, and you name it, CSCs, the rural broadband. You know, we have done
DBT.
enough. Now, the more important is with this foundation, where do we move forward?
True.
Now, and the question that I have understood from you is, how do we move forward together as government industry to achieve what?
true.
Now, I see it as a matrix
Okay.
partnership structure.
Such
Now, post-pandemic, and pandemic brought one thing, Dr. Charu, is digital consumers, digital citizens are now a reality.
True.
The digital as the first choice is becoming a reality. Now, there are three verticals to me, and then there are a number of horizontals that I can propose. The verticals, the first vertical post-COVID is immediate priority to me is employee, citizen well-being and health as one area.
Okay.
Second, the business continuity
Okay.
and growth, particularly for SMEs
Okay.
post-pandemic. Yeah, so that is second, and third obviously is the whole innovation in digitization space.
Okay.
Now is the time that because we have a foundation ready, we can actually reap the benefit of the digitization space that we are talking about. Now coming to and obviously now on the horizontals,
Yeah.
you know, number of areas and there are existing references, examples of practically every type. Skilling is one area where industry governments have a role to play.
True.
Till few years back, nobody knew that we will have a requirement of additive manufacturing engineers, IoT engineers. We didn't know. Now this kind of a curriculum cannot be designed in isolation. So skilling is one horizontal.
Great.
Innovation is second horizontal that I
Which
always,
is your vertical also?
which is a possible digital innovation is vertical. The managing innovation as a program jointly
Okay.
is a horizontal. We are getting now 3 unicorns from India every month.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So that's the beauty of the government industry engagement coming together. So skilling, innovation, SMEs to me is a big area for collaboration. And most important is the riding the next wave, and I always say the next wave of digital India will be digitally intelligent India. That
Okay.
is taking the emerging technologies, that's artificial intelligence, IoT, blockchain,
Big data.
and now converting it into a horizontal wherein industry, and there are a number of use cases. You know, I'll give you one example and how government industry can work. So during second wave of COVID, so this there was a huge oxygen shortage,
True.
and so the government created what is called the Oxygen Digital Tracking System,
Okay.
ODTS.
Okay.
Now what it meant? It meant was that when a tanker with oxygen will start from an oxygen plant, it will be entered into this portal,
Okay.
into this, and then it will be tracked as to, so that the cities and hospitals have a prior information that this much of oxygen is coming my way.
Already.
Right now, what was happening? It was to be entered manually, and then it was realized that many of the oxygen producers were SAP customers. They were
Then?
using SAP.
Then?
So then the government reached out to us, that why can't we integrate SAP onto that?
Okay.
And that's the beauty of partnerships, Dr. Charu. The team worked over a weekend
Okay.
and integrated SAP systems of these,
Oxygen.
oxygen thing with the government's oxygen tracking portal.
Wow.
So when Steel Authority of India or SAIL, when they will push a tanker outside, there'll be a real-time availability of that information onto the ODTS.
Through
That's
IoT?
no,
They
no,
put sensors?
no, no, no. It
Okay.
was they were tracking it, and that was the next phase. That is, the when I issue a gate pass, when the dispatch happens,
Oh, at that point.
linkage,
Okay.
it is they were able to get, and we did it in 10 plants,
Okay.
including SAIL, Vedanta,
Okay.
and others, and it was in 2 days' time.
You could-
This was we could do it. That's the beauty of partnerships when it comes to innovation. Another example I can again give you from the fantastic initiative of Atal Innovation Mission that
Okay.
so many companies are partnering with the Atal Innovation Mission, taking care of the Atal Tinkering Labs,
Okay.
and actually helping students with all the 3D printing experiments, all this.
So capacity
at,
building.
At this, no, it's not capacity building. It's a culture building.
Okay.
So I'm
I like
actually
the word.
I'm actually catching the students at young age in schools.
Okay.
Class 9, class 10th. They are
Okay.
doing projects on IoT, on this thing.
Through
and that-
SAP?
It's SAP,
related
number of companies.
Okay.
So they have this network of Atal Tinkering Labs,
Okay.
run by
Yeah,
Niti
yeah.
Aayog.
True,
The industry is adopting those labs,
Okay.
and actually running
Oh.
courses for teachers and
Okay,
students
TOTs and-
to do so. That's the kind of partnerships which, and you're aware, during COVID we had an empowered group just on private sector participation, headed by the CEO of Niti Aayog himself. So that's the level of partnerships that
Possible.
exists. The way we are moving forward. So to summarize, to give you a short answer, one,
Capacity
3-4 broad areas. One, innovation, skilling, SMEs, emerging technologies, and sustainability, the climate change. If we take 5 as horizontals, with the citizen welfare, with the digitization, with the business continuity, we are good to go.
Awesome model. I really appreciate Dr. Channa. You mentioned COVID in between when you talked about this cylinder, oxygen cylinder, and you partnered with 9 organizations, I believe. Particularly since you represent SAP at such a high level in 20 countries, what were the efforts which you made? How did you walk the talk to combat COVID as a crisis and for citizens all over the country?
If you see, there were 3 pillars that we were actually working on. First of all, realizing that India, the situation obviously demands action from everybody. We committed 3 million euros for COVID fund. We
Okay.
doubled it with another 3 million. We put 6 million euros just for the COVID related efforts,
Okay.
across.
Only for India?
Yes.
Okay.
And then there were 3 pillars. One was taking care of our employees.
Okay.
Second was taking care of community,
Okay.
right? And
Okay.
third was working with the governments to actually ensure
Okay.
that their efforts were. Now, when we talk about employees, we set up COVID care centers.
Okay.
With hospitals, with
Okay.
partner hospitals. We ensured vaccination.
Okay.
Many IT companies
Okay.
did that,
Okay.
and obviously there were helplines and stuff.
Helplines only for employees or
for
for
employees.
everybody?
For
Okay,
employees.
for
Then
employees.
then comes the community part.
Okay.
We went to NASCOM Foundation.
Okay.
People were in need of food that time, so the food packet distribution to
Okay.
people, that was done in partnership with NASCOM Foundation. SAP
Okay.
did that. We donated oxygen concentrators to Haryana, to Karnataka. Worked with the Indo-German Chamber of Commerce to get these things imported from Germany, supplied from Germany side to this. And then parallelly we work with the governments. One example that
Which
I
you
gave
just
you
gave,
is oxygen
oxygen.
tracking. Second, we worked extensively with Karnataka on their call center,
Okay.
on their portal,
Okay.
development effort that we actually put in. So it was a holistic approach that we took, and I don't say that we were the only company who did this. Almost every company
No, I'm sure.
did that, but and that really one experience that COVID management brought to us was it actually gave us an experience of how to relook our workforce and employee strategies
True.
in terms of thinking about
As-
what can be done proactively, that we work together as a team. And I tell you, in the time of crisis, the way people came forward, it was simply amazing.
Okay.
It was simply amazing. Nobody, I still remember those calls that we used to have on this. The passion actually was so much that we have to resolve it together.
Together.
And the kind of cooperation and support that we got from government and the kind of partnership spirit, it was simply amazing.
So I was about to ask you that question, thank you, that what were the chief takeaways from this association with Karnataka with regard to resolving this crisis, and which we probably could replicate it across the state. So what were those takeaways?
One takeaway that I would like to say is that many things which were in the mind that this can be done
Okay.
suddenly became a reality.
Okay.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's try it.
Yes,
One.
yeah.
Second, the tendency to the capability to address the uncertain environment as to if I do this, what will happen, what will be the, like we were working on simulation of COVID spread along
Okay.
with the Indian Institute of Science and
Okay.
all. So the tendency to accept that the world is going to be uncertain going forward, that really set in. And third, what it led to, in my view, were very readily SOP based models wherein government could work with industry.
Wow.
And now there are references. If Karnataka has a story of taking X, Haryana has a story of, then Delhi also will have similar stories. How do I consolidate and how do I take it? That horizontal transfer that we had been so far
Talking about in
thinking
papers,
of,
yeah.
that becomes a reality
Great.
with that. So that was a beautiful takeaway. If I can think of that, now I can go and say that this is an experience that I had there. The governments are actually more than willing to actually come and take it. That yes, why don't you do it for us also? That that earlier feeling that I am unique as a state or a district
Yes,
or a this thing,
yes.
and something
This is
working
industry.
there may not work here.
Yeah.
Plus, this is industry coming and telling me that actually
That our
has been-
dreams don't match, and
Yes, so
this is profit making, and this is
Exactly.
citizen centric.
Exactly.
So,
And it's not only the government side, industry side also, the profit thought process and that thought process, at least my experience, I did not see that happening during COVID time. So it was a fantastic arrangement. So that actually was
a
the key takeaway.
Excellent. So now coming to, you talked about SMEs in your three verticals as well as in your horizontals in the model. So how do you see digitization of SMEs happening, and how do you think industry, big industries, if I could say, have a role to play, and what could be that role?
So you see, all of us know 63 million SMEs in the country.
True,
Moment you take this number elsewhere, for some time people don't believe. Look at you with surprise. How many? 63 million registered. So any talk of Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, without these 63 million creating some more than 11-12 crore jobs is to me is incomplete, right?
Okay.
But the fact also is that Indian MSMEs are still considered traditional. Now, if you see the recent 2019 RBI report, that says that the technology access and the information is a major constraint towards SMEs. If you read the report by KPMG, it concludes that the digitized SMEs are 4 times as likely to grow, than their offline counterparts. So the digitization, the need for digitization is well accepted.
Okay.
Now the question is,
How?
how do we take it forward?
True.
To me, there are 4 broad areas, Dr. Charu, for India SMEs. So one, is the whole awareness about technology solutions.
Okay.
SMEs are not aware, and some governments are taking real good steps
Okay.
towards that, and industry also is taking. I'll give you our example. We started this program called Global Bharat. We created and somehow in India one very good model of learning is a peer learning. So once you have done something, then I will quickly do it. So the Global Bharat program created this community of SMEs.
Okay.
And they are now sharing this thing. We recently launched a mentor program
Okay.
wherein the larger industries will actually help SMEs come up the digital journey.
Okay.
So our customers actually are helping this. So
Okay.
one issue is this awareness.
Okay.
Second issue is this access to technology solutions. And when I say access to technology, access to low cost technology solutions. And we were all struggling till quite some time about offering solutions which SMEs could actually say that yes, I am within, it is within my reach of buying or within the reach of investing. And cloud solved that. So today they can get an ERP solution at 5,000 rupees per user per month kind of a scenario with 20 users. So that's so they can get that.
And what was the earlier number for that, which is 5,000?
So cloud in case of the on-prem, it was much higher than plus the infra cost.
Okay.
Which obviously plus their ability to maintain, inability to maintain, and the other interesting things that we now see, many governments are now in fact already thinking and coming out with even funding this part.
Okay.
That okay, you guys go do this implementation, and we will help you on the costing part.
So is government having any scheme that if
So they are working.
SMEs?
There is a thought process on working out similar schemes.
Okay.
And at least one or two state governments where we have been engaged with. This is something that is being spoken about.
That's
and
interesting.
and that's the second. Third is why would an SME sitting in India use technology if I don't provide him an increase in market as an opportunity?
Right.
So if using technology, if I can get access to global markets.
True.
Now what will happen when you have global market access? You have two things. One,
Numbers.
the motivation for SME to latch on to this business network, as I call it, will increase. Second, because it will be digital, the backward push for him to go digital will automatically result. And so that's now there are a number of ways. I'll give you again our example. We run this program. We run this business network called Ariba.
Okay.
Now their suppliers across the globe, the SMEs can actually latch on to them and get business, and this is all digital.
Okay.
This is all
It's a platform?
Yes, it's a full platform. It's the world's largest business to business network that we have, and trillions of dollars of transactions happen on this. So that's where that's the third, fourth. Now the fourth area in SME digitization is the creation of the talent pool which will implement these solutions in SMEs.
Okay.
The typical the ERP implementations or the AI implementations and all, they for SMEs to afford that, so you need to create a talent pool which will be willing to work, and that's where the industry government partnership comes in. I remember, so like we partnered with the Telangana government. We partnered with the 3 years back with the Indian Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises to go at their centers and create a talent pool of youth on our
AI,
systems,
okay.
which will then, when people are implementing, at least they have somebody to fall back on and do that. So if I address these four issues of awareness, access, global markets, and talent pool together, that to me would be the prescription for SME digitization.
Digitization. And industry has a role to play. And
Industry is this on all the four components. offering is industry,
True.
right? You know, the enablement talent pool creation is for industry also,
Yeah,
because
true.
more the, you know, the X awareness creation, unless people know that X has done at Y, industry's initiative. Obviously, government has a much larger role to play in awareness, but industry, and obviously, you know, the market access, the platforms that we are providing, our global companies can actually facilitate that. So industry has a role everywhere.
Great. You talked about Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now, Atmanirbharta, self-reliance will come only when both the ends are equally strong. So, what is your take on ease of doing business? I remember reading an article of yours on it. So, how would you look at it?
Okay, so you know, I have a slightly different view. Please
Okay.
pardon me for that.
Okay.
I say that people have been talking about a single window interface in ease of doing business.
Right, right.
Right? I say we should now move from a single window to a no window interface.
Okay,
Why
okay.
should I go to government to or why should I go? You know, it should be proactive. We are creating that platform. You know, that's one. So
Okay.
moving from now, how will that happen?
Right.
See, single window is good. I apply. My window is as good as the interface at the back end in terms of my permissions, my licenses, my this
Processes,
thing. So I need to move from this interface to integration.
Okay.
So, you know, and moment I move to integration, the ease of doing business is, and that is where the whole concept of the whole of government
Oh, yeah.
at the back end is a must. And to me, that the G to G and the G to E part of it should become the major focus on this. And we have done so much. If you see, and somebody till a few days back, a few months or years back, people were saying a faceless system is not possible.
I
Now,
know.
income tax is a classical example.
True.
RTOs is a classical example. It has
True.
become faceless.
True.
Now, you know, even my appeal is faceless.
Yeah,
In income
true.
tax, even my appeal is faceless. So it's not. So we have now tasted that
blood.
there is something called faceless. That's possible. Given that, I believe this integrated offering on ease of doing business, technology enabled, and if you see our continuous rise on ease of doing business, you know, I as an optimist would love to link it to the digitization effort that we have been doing. So that to me is the key when it comes to ease of doing business. GSTN, we have seen how it is helping GST in terms of formalization, the SME registration, the Udyog Aadhaar, and so many initiatives.
GEM is
The
there.
GEM obviously is a
Yeah.
classical example,
True,
you know, of what we can do. So to me, what is important is not two things. One, I offer services proactively, use industry, and at the back end, move from interface to integration. That's and so from a single window, let's move to a single application. That's my
Okay, so no doubt you called a thought leader, you know, both in academia and industry. So zero window, and you know, you said the other
single window to single application.
single application. But all this needs a lot of skilling and reskilling. And this is my last question to you. How do you think government industry can join hands with regard to sensitization, capacity building, skilling, reskilling, etc., etc.?
Great. So on skilling, you know, I believe there are two aspects that people think about and are aware. One is digital for skilling,
Yeah,
and second is skilling for digital.
right,
So the digital for skilling is what COVID has pushed.
right,
Personalized, online, virtual training, making people skilled using digital. Second, making these people for digital enablement and employability increase,
True.
which people can
So
do
this
that.
is the second part I'm asking.
Or you are asking about the second part. Even the first part, you know, is linked to second part. But still, on the second part, in terms of digital for skilling, I personally feel that you need to link it with three things. One, skilling today has to be linked to the work organization and reorganization and redesign.
Right.
As I mentioned, we didn't have roles like additive manufacturing engineer.
Yes.
You know, data sciences evolved as a discipline. Now that skilling what I call it as greenfield roles,
Right,
you know, and
right.
then the brownfield reskilling,
Reskilling.
you know, and
Unlearn and learn.
unlearning and relearning that NASCOM created this reskilling portal wherein they wanted to create 2 million people on reskilling. Now that is one part. You know, that is something that I need to have things which are in demand, you know, which will go, and that is where industry has to specify what roles are. So that's one in terms of creating
Skill
the
sets.
role. Second, as we are moving more and more digital in terms of creating, so the digital per se is no longer a vertical.
Yeah.
It's a horizontal now. And when it comes to horizontal, skilling doesn't mean creating IoT engineers. Skilling means creating an IoT engineer for an automotive manufacturer.
True.
Skilling means creating an IoT engineer for a healthcare equipment manufacturer.
True.
Now that skilling has to come as as it, and it will lead to that specialized path of that. That's and third, which is very soon going to evolve. You know, with virtual world becoming more and more pervasive, and you would have already seen at least the IT industry focusing big way on employee behavior as well as on employee well-being and mental health.
True.
Because people somehow are getting detached in terms of the social interactions,
Because
in
of
terms of the
digital,
because of too much of digital interface. The component of this, along with what we are creating now and getting prepared, also will be a big one as we go forward. So earlier we focus on this, the better it is for, and at least I can talk about IT industry in general. Almost every company is now creating off days for employees as mental health days. Don't work, close your laptops, just go out, because you are always on the same screen. So that behavioral training on account of digital will also become a very, very important.
Very true, very well said. So, what are your last few words for government industry partnership? You know, what are the main do's and don'ts government and industry both should keep in mind to have what I would say a synergetic, symbiotic relationship?
You know, the last thing I always say that we have done enough of PPTs.
Right.
You know, the PowerPoint presentations.
I got it.
We need to move to patience, perseverance, and tolerance in the relationship. That PPT, once we develop, it's a great way to move forward.
Thank you, Dr. Channa. It's always a delight to learn from you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks
so much.
from IAP also.
Thank you so much.